He can speak. He just chooses not to. Oh, make no mistake, he's aware. He was watching you as you arrived.
Say something, Michael.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch and welcome back to Days of Halloween. And guess what today is, Pumpkin Patch?
It's Halloween!
It's Halloween! Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween!
Jessica and I have teamed up for this high holiest of holidays here at the Fall Horsemen, and we hope you're ready for 4 movies and a Halloween and other media selection.
Ooh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I should hope I'm ready, because I'm in the video.
True. You have to be ready.
I should be ready. That does not ever mean I am. But we're very excited to share today's picks with you, because it's Halloween. We've saved the best for last.
Ooh.
So ride with us here on our final episode of Days of Halloween 2021 as we get straight into the picks.
Let's do it.
And our selection for the Halloween classic for Halloween is Halloween from 2018. Finally, after having a terrible reboot and a lot of failed entries in a franchise, we finally get the king of the slashers himself, Michael Myers, back in his purest form.
Yes, finally.
This particular entry has Michael Myers returning to form. He's sort of like a great white shark, but instead of having jagged teeth, he's got sharpened knives. But trust me, this ain't even his final form yet.
No, it's definitely not. There is also a part of this movie where I was like, no, Michael, if you do this, I'm gonna turn on you. No, Michael, don't do it. I won't tell you what happens, but...
It's never a bridge too far for me. I watched him eat dogs in the 1978 film, and I'm still on Team Michael,
Fair enough.
This film is a direct sequel to the 1978 classic film, VVMMSS. I can't... Vicious version of Michael Myers, while also being suspensefully stalking.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Why did I write that line? I don't know. This is the most vicious version of Michael Myers, while still maintaining his suspenseful stalking skills. It's sort of like H4O. The reason why it goes in the direction of being a direct sequel to 1978 is to remove the entirety of the Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister storyline that pops up in Halloween 2. Mostly because in the following films in the franchise that follow Michael chasing down his familicide tendencies, that gives Michael a purpose. And Michael is at his absolute purest when he is evil. Just pure, unadulterated, no reason, just killing.
I was gonna say with no explanation. Because evil just exists.
And Michael is ultimately the boogeyman. He is whatever evil you want to put on him. So he's out there doing what he does best, which is tearing a swath through the city of Haddonfield.
If you lived in Haddonfield, would you move away?
I mean, I don't know. It depends on the real estate prices, but I mean, it's sort of like The Purge. Look, you know the one day he's gonna come.
Well, that's true. Just get out of town for that one day.
Just go to Chicago, see a show for a night. I'm just saying, you're in Illinois, just take a little road trip. Not with this version of Michael Myers around.
That's true.
This film sees Laurie Strode as a post-traumatic victim, like a survivor, which is sort of a thing that we see in Halloween H2O. This is just kind of taken to another level. In fact, this film has a lot of elements from H2O, has a lot of elements from Halloween 2, and by God, they love Halloween 3 in this film.
It's true. That's very obvious throughout.
You could kind of make an argument that the presence of a true crime podcast coming in to glorify Michael Myers is almost a little pull from Halloween Resurrection. Although they don't have Busta Rhymes and or Dangertainment, it's sort of the same thing.
Really, all this movie's lacking is Busta Rhymes.
Trick or treat,
Even though this film was written as part of a trilogy of movies, it's sort of like Star Wars. It kind of stands on its own. You can watch Halloween 2018 and you don't have to see the others. It has beginning, middle, and end, and has its own like storyline and arc that I feel is very complete. However, like Star Wars, them receipts are coming, and you got an empire coming. This entry was written by Michael Gordon Green and Danny McBride.
His ability to write a Halloween movie and do it well makes me love him even more.
Exactly. And you can tell that these two are big fans of the series.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Going through like a salad bar and taking the best parts of all these entries and kind of creating a new continuity and a new timeline. And the best part about this is that this film is produced by Jason Blum over at Blumhouse. So they've been allowed to do whatever it is that they want to. After this trilogy has come out, he definitely wants to continue telling the story of Michael Myers in this new and refreshed continuity, including Halloween 3. I would definitely like to see him redo The Cult of Thorn. Definitely felt like there was a lot of stuff you could do with that failed miserably the first time around.
No doubt.
So Halloween 2018 is an absolutely fantastic movie. It is definitely a Halloween classic, and here's hoping that even after this trilogy is over, we get Michael Myers back as a stabby Santa Claus every year from now on. And if I have to be really naughty to get that, then I'll do it. That's the cross I'll bear. Because after all,
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare up.
Alright, Pumpkin Patch, we did something a little different this time around. We did a late night triple feature picture show for our other 3 picks for Halloween. So here's what we've chosen. The Fear Street trilogy. So Fear Street Part 1, 2, and 3, all of which you can find on Netflix.
a triple feature.
A triple feature.
Wow.
Yes, and guess what else?
What?
1. All these movies were directed by a woman. Lee
awesome.
Janiak. If she did not grow up reading the Fear Street books, I would be very surprised. She wanted to write a series of movies that were in the Fear Street universe without having a Fear Street book as a source material. The Fear Street books that I'm referencing are the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine, which if you're someone who's between the ages of like 30 and 40, you may have like seen them and read them in your middle school or high school library growing up. Or maybe that's just me.
Me too.
Yeah.
I read Goosebumps and Fear Street.
I loved the Fear Street books, and I loved that there was an element of mystery within them. And in fact, in preparation for today, I downloaded a Fear Street book on Audible and listened to part of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it took me back to being like 14 years old and reading a Fear Street book.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, this Fear Street series took a long time to develop. The original pitch for this movie was made in 1997. And then it ends up in developmental Hades for a while. And then the movies are filmed in 2019, scheduled to come out in June of 2020. And then movie theaters are closed in June of 2020. And then the distribution company that owned Fear Street was owned by 21st Century Fox. When Disney bought 21st Century Fox, they didn't want these movies, and so they ended up reaching a deal and being able to distribute them on Netflix.
Disney's loss, our gain.
Absolutely. And Lee Janiak wasn't originally slated to direct all 3 movies. She was only going to direct the Part 1 and Part 3. And then she ended up directing all 3 movies just due to some people backing out as well. So it took a lot of like determination to get these movies made to begin with. Speaking of taking you back, Part 1 of the Fear Street series takes us back to 1994. Those of you guys who have lived through 1994 will be delighted. Not only is the soundtrack very authentically 90s, but also there's a Gadzooks sighting.
That's true. I forgot Gadzooks was a store until I watched this movie.
Yes, as did most people.
It's funny because I've seen people online cover Fear Street on their YouTube videos, they always refer to it as a Spencer's.
And it's not. It's a Gadzooks. It's not a Spencer's.
Look, I'm gonna have to ask a Xenial self to just step aside and just realize one thing coming from a Gen Xer. That's a Gadzooks. That was a separate store. It did exist. It don't no more.
Fear Street 1994 is a slasher movie. It's definitely written a little bit like a love letter to Scream. It opens in a mall, of course. Classic 90s. And it opens with Maya Hawke, alright?
Because Maya Hawke is still working at a mall. She never really got out of the 80s quite well from Stranger Things, from working at Scoops Ahoy, and now she works at a B. Dalton?
It's a B. Dalton.
It's a B. Dalton?
It's a B. Dalton Booksellers.
She works at a B. Dalton in the mall now, so.
I probably bought some Fear Street books at a B. Dalton Booksellers, very similar to that store. She's talking to her friend Ryan Torres, and then things in the mall start to feel a little weird. And then Ryan, all of a sudden, comes in, starts chasing her, murders a few other people in the mall, and no one really knows why. But we learn then that Shadyside, where they are, a very high rate of murder, mostly by teenagers who seem to be all of a sudden possessed by something. Some people believe that it's the curse of Fear.
Love a good curse. But that also is weird because it's the first time we see anything like supernatural with that typical 90s style slasher.
Yes.
Scream was decidedly not supernatural. They were clearly just people.
Yeah. And so from there we meet Dina, who's the main character for really the remainder of this movie. And we also meet her ex-girlfriend Sam. And they play a pivotal role through this movie and then near the end of the trilogy as well. I don't want to give too much away about any of these movies, so I'm not going to talk more in depth about 1994 really, unless you have anything to add. Really a great slasher, and it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger because this is a trilogy of movies. So part 2 is a camp movie, and it's set in 1978.
1978! Good year!
Oh yeah.
Horror was born in 1978. Not really, but
the original Halloween is released in 1978.
Yeah, it's obviously like an homage to that.
Yes.
And even though, if I may for 1 second,
of course,
I know that a lot of horror fans out there haven't really done a lot of the legwork and research because they think of the Friday the 13th films as being set in the 80s because they were released in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Friday the 13th is actually set in 1979.
Ooh.
The first 5 films are actually set really close to each other in 1979. They came out in the 80s, but the Friday the 13th films have a crazy timeline.
Fear Street 1978 follows the story of 2 sisters, Ziggy and Cindy Berman. They're pivotal characters throughout the series, for sure. It also, one of the stars of this movie is Sadie Sink, who is also from Stranger Things.
Sadie Sink is also still doing spooky stuff. And Netflix obviously likes that Stranger Things crew. Mm-hmm, we got Maya Hawke, and then we got Sadie Sink.
Yes. And Lee Janiak is married to Ross Duffer.
Oh.
Of the Duffer Brothers.
Well, there you go. I was not aware of that.
Who are the producers of Stranger Things. In Fear Street 1978, they're at Camp Nightwing, and they are participating in Color War 78. Yeah. During the Color Wars, some killing starts happening.
As what usually happens during Color War.
Well,
that's how I've been eliminated from many a Color War, because you're not supposed to kill, and you're being too violent, James, and we're gonna have to get you arrested, James.
Yeah, that's all true. Color Wars are a series of games that you play at camp.
Don't call it war. The thing that I enjoyed about these particular films is that they were all set during different periods. Mm-hmm. And the dialogue and the performances are very indicative of those particular time frames. In the 90s, they speak like we did in the 90s. Mm-hmm. A lot of expletives and a lot of jargon, a lot of lingo, which was really big back then. We all thought we were cooler than we actually were. Because just like Dina and Sam, I too was in high school in 1994. So I know exactly what that kind of lifestyle is outside of living in Shadyside.
Sure. Sure.
So
That's. I was gonna ask you. Do you think that you'd be a Shady Sider or a Sunnyvale?
Shady Side all the way.
I feel like I would be a Shady Sider as well.
Shady Side witches for life. And the 1978, they still speak like they would in the 1970s. They speak like they would in 1666. It's very clever how they were able to still have the characters and still kind of chop them up and place them in times and have it fit.
Yes.
Especially after we watched the first one, I was like, this is very 90s. They better not talk like this in 1978.
No, they did a really good job there.
The soundtrack from the 78 episode is great.
Mm-hmm.
The score, mostly, for 1666 was fantastic. I don't know how many bands were around in 1666, but they obviously didn't get the rights to use any of their music.
But also, Lee Janiak has said that she would like to do more Fear Street movies.
I would like to say that James said that he wants Lee Janiak to do more Fear Street movies.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. She wants to create an entire Fear Street universe. So not necessarily tell a similar story or the same story, but just create another story within that universe.
Fear Street was very well received. I loved Fear Street. I think you loved Fear Street.
I love Fear Street, yes. But again, I think we said this a couple times, but you can watch all three of these movies on Netflix.
Yes. Highly recommend them.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, amazing, very well done.
Great research.
Thank you.
It's our first triple feature. I think that's pretty amazing. Our selection for the Halloween and Other Media goes to the 1819 short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is. Want to tell you guys how amazing it is to finally be able to cover the OG horseman himself, the Headless Horseman.
Ooh.
Now, I think most people kind of sort of know the storyline of the Headless Horseman. It's pretty well known throughout the entire world. It's one of the first examples of really American literature kind of taking a hold in this nascent country of ours. This is inherently this, and James Fenimore Cooper's The Leatherstocking Tales is really kind of recognized as the first instances of American authors writing American stories. Ironic, because there's a lot of elements that aren't American in this particular story. This story came out, ironically, in an anthology, something that we featured a lot here on this channel.
Oh, hey.
Came out in a book called The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, which is
Geoffrey Crayon.
Geoffrey Crayon.
I love that name so much.
Geoffrey Crayon was actually the pseudonym of Washington Irving. He used that name a lot so that he could get play in countries other than the United States.
Oh, okay.
This is after the Revolutionary War, and again, America is not recognized as being a big literary country. He wanted to push units over in England. They didn't necessarily gonna react very well to a man named Washington.
Sure. Or be like, yay, America, writing right after they declared their independence from us.
So the story is set in Sleepy Hollow. It's actually an area of a town called Tarrytown, New York. It's a real place. Washington Irving was a real person. A lot of the characters in the book are kind of loosely based on real people that Washington Irving knew. So Ichabod Crane moves into this town to be the school teacher, and he's cock of the walk, and he thinks that everything is amazing for him, and he set his eyes on one particular woman, and her name was Katrina Von Tassel. Is it because she was beautiful? Is it because she was interested in him? No, none of those things. She was rich, and he wanted her daddy's money. And he thought for sure if he could marry her, well then he was gonna be rich and taken care of forever.
I'm not saying he's a gold digger.
So Katrina Von Tassel is not sweet on Ichabod Crane at all. In fact, she's sweet on the town hero, Brom Bones.
Also, no means no, Ichabod Crane.
And Brom Bones will not commit to marrying her.
Okay.
So she decides, I'm a toy with Ichabod Crane, and I'm gonna make Brom Bones jealous.
But that's also not cool, you guys. Don't do that either.
So Brom Bones waits for his chance to get up at Ichabod Crane and to have that interaction with him, to have that like showdown with him. And in doing that, he realizes my man Ichabod is super superstitious.
You could say that he's not even a little stitious.
So he waits for Katrina Von Tassel's big autumn party. So at this party, Ichabod Crane has determined that he is going to propose to Katrina Von Tassel.
Alright.
And he does. And she says no.
And no means no, you guys.
So he's trying to cut through this haunted forest, and he's trying to make his way to the bridge, the covered bridge. If you cross the bridge, the horsemen cannot come after you. Well, guess what? My man runs into the Headless Horseman. But hopefully you enjoy this story. There's a lot of different versions. It's been printed and reprinted since 1819. So check it out. Disney did a version of it. There's countless numbers of movies. Tim Burton did Sleepy Hollow. There's a Sleepy Hollow TV show. All of these things kind of take liberties with the original story, which honestly is better than all of them. And it is true Americana, and I recognize it as the birth of the Fall Horsemen. They just didn't know it yet.
Aw, I love that. Amazing. Alright, so that's it. You got your 4 movies and your 1 Halloween and other media pick for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I did.
I did as well.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Pumpkin Patch.
I hope you've really enjoyed all the days of Halloween and everything that we've done here so far during October. We have more spooky stuff to come. So if you would, please click or treat. That's where you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and it helps us know what you like so that we can do more of it.
Also, be like Michael Myers from 2018 and stalk us on all the social media sites.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. We have lots of spooky stuff going on there. We post pictures and memes and stuff all year long. But if all you ever do is watch these videos, we love you and we appreciate you very much. So thank you for riding with the Fall Horsemen.
Where Halloween lives.
And fall is forever.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Don't expect any videos for at least a week, because that's the way this is happening. 31 days of Halloween is hard to get through, so we are done now.
But we're done. You're at the end. Do all of the things and have a very happy Halloween.
I didn't do the research. Is it because that
Okay.
just kidding. Comment whatever you want to, I don't care. But I grew up in West Greenville, which is pretty close. I don't know what of this shit we can use, but you know.
I don't know either. You guys think I get off on rabbit trails? Ride with me on this.
Yeah, ride with me on killing people in color wars.
I mean, yes, I knew that.
You brought up 1978. You brought this evil upon you.
Mics are hot.
Mics are hot. Oh, no! I wasn't ready. Cut that. That's good. I'm keeping that part. That's one take. That's one take. That's one take. That's all you get.
Yeah. Why are you hitting yourself?
Why am I hitting myself?
Cut that part. I'm not ready to say that part yet.
This particular entry finds. Don't take me back too far, because if you take me back to when I was 14, I'll just be huddled in a corner eating candy corn, watching Season of the Witch on repeat.
Well, you do that now, so.
God, I haven't changed. A lot of the characters in the. I was going to call it a film. It's not a film. I like the part where I get to react and not have to read my notes.
Well, welcome to that part.